Hey guys, I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Shikha and I welcome you to my channel. As always, I'm so grateful that you guys are listening, subscribing, commenting. I appreciate the support. And if you want to support me further, you can do that by going to my Ko-fi or Patreon link, whatever you guys prefer. In this video, I wanted to speak to you guys about something that I've been thinking about that actually was brought into stark understanding, or a little bit more understanding yesterday when I was speaking to a couple of people. And from my conversations with them and with other people, I've realized that 2012, that year 2012, you know, the Mayan calendar said that it was the end of the world. And a lot of people are actually saying that yes, it was the end of the world in the format that it was the end of a certain kind of awakening or some certain kind of consciousness, or the beginning of the end of that consciousness. And now what's happening is that little by little, a new form of consciousness, a new form of awakening is kind of taking over the planet. And a lot of you guys have probably experienced this yourself in the fact that you've noticed that perhaps you were one of those people who, like me, started meditating 10, 12, 13, 18 years ago. And everyone looked at you like you were crazy. But all of a sudden, there are people asking questions about it, also wanting to meditate with you or becoming more interested in the idea of it, becoming more open to the idea of doing all these things that for a long time, for decades, was just was considered the domain of hippies or those people, you know, the excluded people or the people on the edges. Whereas now, all those people who were on the edges are now kind of becoming a little bit more mainstream. I mean, the way I look at the world, I'm noticing that meditation is a conversation that a lot of people are having. That it's just not something that, you know, hippies do in a forest somewhere, in a cave, or priests do, or sadhus, or ascetics. It's something that a lot of people, just mainstream media in general, is talking about it, but mainstream people are doing on a regular basis and talking about it and having conversations about it. So I think that's what a lot of us missed when we were talking about the Mayan calendar and how a lot of things that we noticed, the fact that, you know, a lot of calendars were kind of predicting the demise of humanity in general. Now, of course, if you look at the world right now, you might imagine and think, I think the world is kind of ending and there's a lot of crazy things going on. But again, I think what happens is that everything that's happening is just a leveling up, or it's a lesson. It's a way that the universe teaches us how to be better, or how to be better versions of ourselves, or how to expand our consciousness. I'm noticing a lot of the different things that are coming into my path are on a daily basis teaching me how to expand my consciousness. And I notice myself dying, like parts of me dying, and then expanding, and then becoming a different person or growing into someone new on almost a regular basis. I would say sometimes on a daily basis. That's why when I go away for a few months from my family and I come back to them, I literally feel like I'm a different person. I'm meeting them, and I think they are different people as well. I mean, obviously we're always changing all the time, but the rate of expansion of change, the rate of expansion and the rate of change is just so fast nowadays. And I think it is because of the fact that we are not just doing it in individual packets. We're not just doing it by ourselves anymore. We're not just doing it on the edges anymore. But what's happening is that we're kind of moving to a place where we're able to do it with a lot of consciousness around us, where a lot of different people are doing it in tandem with each other. Obviously, YouTube is one of the formats that works really well for me, but I like it because what happens is that you can create a community around it. And then, so when I do something that really strikes me as expansive or consciousness expanding, then I share it with the people on my channel. What's happening is that I'm not just alone in that journey anymore. I'm not just doing it as a solopreneur, if you want to call it, or a solo person. I'm not doing it in solitude anymore, but I'm doing it in a way where there are people around me and we're all kind of mingling our consciousness in a way and doing it together. And I think that's the reason why expansion is happening at such a rapid rate, is because, as I said, it's not just one person, one off here and there, maybe one in hundreds or one in 1,000 or one in 10,000 doing it, but just generally families are going at consciousness expansion together, friends are going at it together, you know, they're going to different healing places together, or sisters are doing it together, brothers, sisters, siblings, things like that. And all of that results in a rapid rate of growth much faster than if you were just doing it on your own. That's one of the reasons why I love sharing my ideas here on this channel. Is not only because I love sharing, but also because I know that some idea, one idea, maybe some random idea will come hit you, strike you in the right spot in your neurons or in your heart, and all of a sudden you just expand it. You just, in that moment, from one moment to the next, instead of being who you were in the last moment, all of a sudden you're this new person, you're just this different person. And you don't even realize that that's happening. And I mean, maybe later you're kind of processing it and you realize, oh, how I just kind of completely expanded and I'm a completely different person all of a sudden. I think that's happening at a very rapid rate as well. And that's what I'm trying to do with a lot of these videos as well. Not that I'm enlightened in any way or anything like that, but I just think that the sharing of ideas, but also the sharing of healing modalities and doing it all together. And hundreds of thousands of millions of people are meditating together in the world. Can you imagine the impact on the world? Yes, sometimes you look at the world and you're like, is it really changing anything? You know, you look at the world and you're like, well, I think it's getting worse. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But I do know that in general, all of the things that we're doing, everything that we do, every little thing matters, but all of the different things we're doing together, even if we are in separate houses, even if we're in separate parts of the world, all of us are working on these healing modalities, on these things together. We're meditating together perhaps, or we're reading expansive books together, or we're just sending loving kindness ideas to each other, doing the loving kindness meditation. Or in general, whatever we are doing that's loving or expansive, we're doing it together. You know, even if we're, as I said, separate from each other, far away from each other, in general, our consciousness is mingling with each other through the universal consciousness, of course, but also in general through the ether, through the atmosphere. Whenever you send out some energy, it's mingling with all the different energies out there. And perhaps it's negating some negative energy, perhaps it's making some positive energy expand even more. It's amplitude, right? It's frequency. And so the more positive energies get together, the most positive frequencies that get together, the higher they are, but they also expand each other. And it's not like a one-time magnification, it's a 10-time magnification. Right? And so that's one of the reasons why I'm really excited to be on the cusp of this amazing awakening. Because at first, obviously, you know, it's the S-curve. At first, the movement of consciousness and the movement of our change is just, the impact is very little. It's small. And you think, oh, I'm not doing anything. It doesn't matter if I meditate every day. It doesn't matter if I do these things. Because the change, you can't notice it. The impact is unnoticeable at first. But as time goes on, the S-curve, as you can see, it expands very rapidly. And all of a sudden, you look around yourself, and it's a completely different world you're living in. And that's what happened, I think, since 2012, or even you could say 2000, where, you know, even in the year 2000, a lot of people were like, oh, it's the end of the world, etc., etc. And then again in 2012. And I think it's not the end of the world, but it's the end of a specific level or of consciousness, and the expansion into another level of consciousness. Now, not all people are obviously expanding into a different level of consciousness, but it is happening slowly but surely, and it is trickling down from the people who are there already to the people who are around them. And that's one of the reasons why I tell you guys always, you are important on this planet, because even if you feel like you're not making a difference, the trickle-down effect is taking place. The ripple effect is taking place. You might be doing little things here and there, and you're like, no, I'm not doing anything. Nothing's happening. Nothing's changing in my world. My mom's still a narcissist, or my dad is still an alcoholic, and what's the point? But little by little, you'll notice the trickle-down effect and the ripple effect will take place, and all of a sudden, you'll notice them completely change, and you're like, what? Who are these people around me? And it will happen. It might happen slowly, and way too slowly for you, like, so that you get impatient with it, but realize that it is happening slowly but surely. Right? And that is our role on this planet as light workers, as INFJs, as empaths, as HSPs, whatever you are, Heyoka empath, whatever it is that you are on this planet to do. One of the main rules you have is to ensure or warrant that this trickle-down effect takes place, that the ripple effect takes place, and little by little change the world and expand the consciousness, because all of us are getting together and doing it. Even if we're far away from each other, even if you guys are thousands of miles from me, my consciousness is mingling with you, and we are changing the world one little trickle at a time, right? So I really want you guys to realize the power that you have within you, and I know that we can all make a difference if we just believe in it, and also just to realize, just to be patient with it. Sometimes I get impatient too. I'm thinking to myself, what is the point of all of this? But it is there's something going on there, and you just have to relax and let it happen. I hope this makes sense. Sometimes I talk about things and I'm like, I don't know, but this is something I really do believe in. And I know a lot of different people talk about expansion of consciousness, also the awakening that's happening in the world right now. But I really think that we have a role to play in it, and we forget that. We think it's other people's job to deal with it. We think it's someone else's job to deal with it. It's not. It is yours as well. You're here for a reason as well. Again, I hope this makes sense. If you guys are interested in asking me some questions about this or expanding upon it, let me know and I will do another video on it. I could talk about this all day. So, and also if you want to support me further, you can do that by going to my Patreon or Ko-fi link. They're in the description below. Again, thank you so much for your support, and I shall see you guys the next time around. Bye for now.